Hello again. So in this video I'm going to talk about my current symptoms, just to give you an idea about sort of where I'm at and things like that. On the face of it, I look very healthy and you wouldn't recognise that there is anything going on with me at all. So to give you an idea, I have a list written beside me only because my memory is shot, so the list actually will help me go through it. So if I occasionally look at the list, I do apologise. So I can only walk about 500 metres at a time, and that these days is now assisted with a cane. So I can walk around the house without a cane, and I can do little walks here and there without a cane, but on a whole I need to take the cane with me for most things. It just allows for more balance and things along those sort of lines. I can only stand for between 10 to 20 minutes before I really do need to sit down because my legs get too sore. Again, the cane really does help with this because it allows me to take pressure off my legs and lean against something while I am standing somewhere. I'm numb from the waist down, so I have permanent numbness and pins and needles in my legs. And in particular both my feet, with my right foot being the worst. It has an intense pins and needles and is incredibly hot a lot of the time. So, and it also has stabbing pains and things that go through it as well. Both my hands are numb. They also get stabbing pains and pins and needles. So by having numb hands allows me not to be able to type very well or for very long periods of time. I have a sensitive keyboard, so I'm able to type to a reasonable degree, but on a whole I'm limited by what I can do and things along those sort of lines. I get headaches regularly. As I'm recording this, I've had a headache for about 3 days. It's basically a dull sort of numb pain in this particular one's in the back of my neck. I quite often will get them in the front. It just depends on, and they do move around. And sometimes they are instant, and other times, even with a large amount of different types of medications, they still last easily sort of 3 to 4 days. So massive amount of fatigue. There's some days I can get up and I can function and do bits and pieces. Other days I cannot function at all, in the sense that pretty much I'm totally exhausted. I look exhausted and I just need to sleep, or if I can't sleep I just simply need to lie and be. There's not much else I can actually do. Have extreme heat sensitivity, so hot weather and I don't mix, so we don't do very well together. So winter is much better from that point of view, whereas summer I just cannot go out, and if I do go out in the sun for any length of time I get things like heat stroke and things like that very quickly, and also end up sort of with major fatigue as well. So I need to be in an air-conditioned environment most of the time. Really bad memory loss, hence what I sort of said before. I have a sheet of paper that has what my current symptoms are, because I would rattle them off and then later on I'd go, oh shit, I forgot about that. So yeah, so it's your memory loss and bad memory is something that just comes with multiple sclerosis for most people, and can make it very hard and challenging to be able to do things, remember things and things like that. I've always been hopeless with names. Now I'm just triply as bad. Eyesight, currently my right eye, I have 50% vision in it. My left eye is pretty good still. It is being affected by having to overwork to compensate for my right eye. Balance is shot for the most part. Sometimes it's pretty good. Other days I walk into walls and doors and sort of things like that, so I quite often end up with bruises on me. Sometimes I try to explain it to my partner, just sort of to make her understand the balance issue. It's not that you feel you're just going to fall over like vertigo. It's not that. It's more that I walk in a way like I'm permanently drunk. So I'll be walking and then all of a sudden I'll just lean to the left or lean to the right with no pre-warning. So that's why you collect doors and sort of things like that. And then there's sort of three other big ones. I know this is a long one, sorry guys. So I have a lack of bladder control. Extreme urgency, to need to go to the toilet at different points of time and not being able to hold. So I have occasionally made a mess of myself purely because of not being able to get to a toilet fast enough and not having the control. Bowel is exactly the same. So exactly the same issues with bladder that you have with bowel, where you get an extreme urgency that needs you to be on a toilet very quickly because you will not stop a bowel movement coming. So I've been caught publicly before from that, which is rather embarrassing, and I am consciously prepared most of the time when I go out in public that something like that could happen. So always looking for public toilets and places like that. And the other big one is, the other big one for men, which is part of their identity, is impotency and erectile dysfunction. I haven't had an erect penis for, I would say, probably 7 years now. It's been a long time, which is a major issue initially for men to deal with because it's part of their identity, and it took a little while to accept that was going to be the case. I've never done Viagra or anything like that, only because I just haven't wanted to, and I have a fantastic partner who has worked with me all the way through and has allowed our lovemaking to be the most effective it can be in the current circumstances, which I'm internally grateful for. So that's a basic wrap up of my current symptoms to give you an idea. Sorry, this post is rather long, but I just thought it would help a few people know what I'm currently sort of facing with. Thank you.